Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tutorium in Intensive English at the University of Illinois at Chicago. I'm Jordan, your grammar teacher. Now, as I told you in our previous modules, in this series, we're discussing all of the conditionals. So, as you can see, today we are talking about the second conditional. Now, for our lesson today, we will look at some example sentences using the second conditional, and then we'll learn the grammar rules for the second conditional. Some of this will be review based on what we've learned about the zero and first conditionals. So first of all, let's look at some example sentences. If I were an animal, I would be a panda. If she had $1 million, she would buy 1 million tacos. If they met Barack Obama, they would ask him what it was like to be president. Okay, so this looks pretty familiar, right? We have our if clause, we have our main clause. How is this different from the other conditionals that we've learned? Well, first of all, in second conditional, we will only have if. You'll see here, we do not use when with the second conditional. We'll talk about why. First of all, the second conditional is for hypothetical or imaginary situations. These are not situations that are real. These situations will not happen. We are just having a little fun thinking of hypothetical, imaginary situations. Now, in the if clause, you have the hypothetical situation. And in the main clause, you have the hypothetical result. So again, both are hypothetical. They will not happen. This is just for fun, just for pretending, like a game, like you play when you are a kid. You are playing make-believe. Now let's look at our grammar a little bit closer. Let's look at those verbs in blue. So if I were an animal, I would be a panda. Will I be an animal? No. Will I be a panda? No. This is just for fun. If she had $1 million, she would buy 1 million tacos. Will she have $1 million? No. Will she buy 1 million tacos? No. If they met Barack Obama, they would ask him what it was like to be president. Will they meet Barack Obama? No. Will they ask him what it was like to be president? Also no. Okay, so we know this stuff is not real. Now let's look closer at these verbs. What verb tense are we using in the if clause? We see were, had, and met. What is that? That is the simple past. And then on the other side, we see would plus infinitive or base form or base verb. Those are some of the words that people use to describe a verb that has not changed. Okay, so simple past plus would plus infinitive. There's also something else that looks a little strange. It's this were. We're going to talk about that on the next slide. Now, first of all, we've already talked about the equation, simple past plus would plus infinitive. That forms the second conditional. In addition, when we use the verb to be, in the if clause, all of the subjects use the verb were. So in normal simple past, we say things like I was, she was, he was, it was, right? But in second conditional, it's different. So instead, in second conditional, we say I were, you were, she were, he were, it were, we were, they were. They are all were. It's a little different. And then in the main clause, we have the would plus infinitive. Now, as we've talked about in our other videos, there is a rule with sentences that begin with if. We see a comma that tells us to pause a little bit, and it separates the clauses. So if I were an animal, I would be a panda. If she had $1 million, what happened there? Well, anyway, there needs to be a little comma there. Yeah, she would buy 1 million tacos. If they met Barack Obama, they would ask him what it was like to be president. So again, like the other conditionals, if we begin with if, we need a comma to separate the clauses. But also like the other conditionals, we can change the position of the clauses. So the if clause can go to the end and the main clause can go to the beginning. Let's look at an example. So I would be a panda if I were an animal. Now again, notice there's no comma here. If the if clause is in the second half, we don't need a comma. She'd buy 1 million tacos if she had $1 million. No comma. They'd ask Barack Obama about being president if they met him. No comma. So, like always, thank you for studying with me. I recommend that you continue to practice now with all 3 of these conditionals: zero conditional, first conditional, and second conditional. Review them and remember what the differences in structure and use are for each one. We'll learn one more conditional after this, and it will be a bit confusing. So in your free time, remember to practice with either some additional exercises online, or consider journaling about some of these topics, and that will be really helpful to remember the difference between all 3 of these. So I'll see you in the next one for third conditional. Have fun and see you next time.